Howdy peeps, sort of do a quick video, I suppose, kind of a bit of a follow-up on the last one. I suppose a bit of a follow-up on MGTOW as a whole. We talk about red pill knowledge. Now, I get it, a lot of the time as far as that side of the manosphere is concerned, we are talking about the BS that a lot of us guys get put through toxic relationships, bad situations with women, or the situations that we might find ourselves in as a result of our own choices. I've said it before, I've made bad decisions, I've made bad choices with people that I wanted to be, or I considered that there was a possibility for them to be long-term partners when they weren't. It's just a learning curve. And for the most part, those of us in the manosphere have been talking about, oh well, it's women this and women that. Now, I covered a video a couple of years ago. I think it might have been 2017. Video's probably unavailable. I'll have a look. I'll see if I can find it. I'll re-watch it, and if I pass my own judgment as to whether it's worthy of being made public, I'll do that. And I'll throw a link. I'll come back and throw a link in the description. If I decide that it's not, then I won't. But anyway, the video that I'd covered was regarding this lesbian couple out in the US, and basically they'd set themselves up for failure from the get-go. They'd basically trashed the entire, they graffitied the side of their house, they'd smashed the house up, they'd written all sorts of anti-LGBT plus slurs on their own property. I think it was their own property, I can't remember if it was rented, but either way, they'd done it themselves. And of course, they then went ahead and said, oh yeah, it's the local residents, they don't like us because we're different and because we're lesbian, this, that and the other. They weren't aware that their neighbour was actually recording them, and then the neighbour put it up on YouTube as to what they were doing to their own house. And there was no carefulness about it. They weren't wearing masks, they didn't do anything to make themselves look different or anything like that. They just trashed it and then just said, oh yeah, all the residents hate us because we're lesbian. So, what? Now, some of you guys might turn around and say, well, that's just typical of the worst kind of woman, and probably just as well that they are lesbians, because I'll tell you what, I don't know many guys that would want to be on the receiving end of some of that bullshittery. It's that kind of behaviour that gets innocent men thrown in prison, gets them beaten up, worst case scenario, gets them killed, right? It happens. It happens. And I'm relating that to the whole, I suppose, what we refer to as female nature. Because we do see it a lot. There's little to no accountability for their actions, and that's just the way it is. And look, we can, if we look hard enough, we don't have to look that hard, but if we look hard enough, we will see it in our everyday life with the people that we don't know, that we do interact with, whether it's going down to the shop and just seeing how they are and how they interact. Now, sure, it doesn't apply to all women, as we all, I'll always say that, it doesn't apply. I've met, some of the most fantastic women, and due to the circumstances and the life choices they've made, they're not available for a relationship. Would I choose them? Yeah, probably. So they are out there. They're not, they're not all bad. I think for my perspective, it's a lack of accountability, and the fact that, with feminism, because a lot of people sort of think, oh, well, men going their own way and red pill, it's all just the same side of the same coin as feminism, which it isn't. It's just like, a lot of us are just tired of the double standards. We're tired of walking on eggshells on certain topics of conversation, or walking on eggshells in relationships. This is why men, generally speaking, end up going their own way, and they just throw the towel into the dating game. They're like, done. You've got everything that has been presented has not been right in one way, shape or form. Whether they were physically abusive, mentally, emotionally, whatever, doesn't matter. And yet that's a two-way street. I get it. There are women out there that they've been on the other side of that, and they've been with toxic guys. But the thing is guys have always been referred to as toxic anyway. It's, we get painted with that broad brush. But of course, when we talk about women, and they assume that broad brush is including them as well, because that's just that's what their drive is. It's like if you say something bad about women, you're always going to get a couple of them that assume you're talking about them, even though they don't have any of the qualities that you're lack thereof that you're actually referring to, as to why you would choose to opt out, or why you're choosing to tar women with this sort of brush. Now, it's not exactly a secret that, if some women can't live with men or can't have a relationship with men because of their mindset, their personality, in brackets disorder probably, just saying, because look, it usually is a thing, I sort of question even on myself, like what is wrong with me. It's probably short to tell you what's right with me, in all fairness, but I am hard work, and I get that. So this is why for me I tend to not choose to live with partners. It's just too much, I haven't lived with anyone for a while anyway. Look, this includes guys as well. I know what I'm like, right? So to avoid any sort of form of confrontation, because I'd rather avoid it altogether rather than be in that position of ending up having a confrontation. And of course, when you're talking about cohabitation with women in terms of a relationship, oftentimes they'll get this idea of what they want their house to be, and then I suppose like the Borg, they expect you to assimilate whilst they just take over and do what they want to do. And then this is when you, in that instance, that is when you do become a tool, right? Now in all of this, because of a recent situation that I'd heard of, and it was down to this lesbian couple, and things weren't quite working out, and then when push come to shove, from my perspective, how I was seeing things, it's just like, mate, this girl is just out and out toxic, and it's like, how can the other girl not see it? It comes down to this. It's that same old thing of, we project our fantasy of what we want the other person to be. You'll often hear, probably not just women alone, but I say it myself, I do try and see the best in people, but I know deep down, having seen the worst in some of the people in my life, that have been in my life, I know full well how abhorrent, downright disrespectful, and just wrong some people can be. And in one aspect, I suppose it was kind of like a bit of almost like a breath of fresh air, even though deep down I knew that, all relationships will have their problems, and, no one is exactly exempt unless you've been through a particularly toxic situation yourself with someone. No one is exempt from not picking up red flags, and, it can leave them in pretty dire situations. I've sort of said before about one of the girls that I used to date and ended up cohabitating with, and the sort of thing that went through, it was the pull me away from all my friends and family, alienate them from me, and basically just whenever it came down to me talking to my friends, it was the, oh, you're talking about me. So I was talking about you, but not in a bad light, But the point I'm getting at is, every time that I did do that I was speaking to them, and because this situation isn't just subject to me. This happens to lots of guys out there. And whereas as soon as you start talking to your friends, your usual circle of friends that you knew before this girl came on the scene or whatever, and then it's, oh, well, what were you talking about? And then it's just like, they're just nitpicking, one thing after the next. What can they possibly pull out of you to then use against you further on down the line? Look, that kind of behaviour is just shitty and toxic. And when I was seeing this it was coming out from this sort of lesbian couple, I just sort of thought to myself, it's like, fucking hell, they don't even like each other. To those women that it applies to, it's like, you don't even like each other, and yet they're going to be the first ones to say that all men are bad. It's like, really? All men are bad, yet this chick, I mean, I don't actually know if she's bisexual or lesbian or just straight lesbian. Straight lesbian. I'm sure that doesn't even make sense. You know what I mean? And it's just sort of like, it's, whereas the argument is usually, oh, it's a women thing, the all women are like that. In one aspect, it kind of reinforces that for me, because I'm sort of thinking, so, and I haven't been a stranger to, abuse from lesbian couples, because this is another topic that I covered in the past, that, the feminists love using against men to paint us all as being bad, is domestic abuse, and how that is seen. Now, a lot of the time, they don't actually state whether the perpetrator or the instigator was male or female, but they will use, oh yeah, the female was at the receiving end of abuse, right? So that puts them in the instant victim light, and oh, poor women. And it's like, well, going on what I've seen for myself and what I've seen in other videos about, female behaviour and how just abhorrent they can be to male partners and obviously female partners as well. It's just this whole thing, and that's something else that just feminism fails repetitively to acknowledge. It's like every time there's a police report made, they'll cherry pick what they want. It's like, oh, abuse on females. Oh yeah, we'll have that because that helps their agenda. Oh, well, all these women were abused, but they won't actually sit back and tell you how many were actually involved in same-sex relationships, whereas women were concerned. They won't tell you that. And from a guy's perspective, we know how manipulative and calculating women can be. If you get like the not the worst of the worst, I mean, obviously the worst of the worst, and you're talking about some serious issues. I mean, but still doesn't take away the fact that they just cherry pick what they want to use to push their own agenda, and which is women victim, men bad. It's like, well, no. But it's just a bit more, I don't know, I suppose I'm just pointing out a bit more of the dishonesty from that side of it. And also the other side, that even though I'd covered it myself years ago, it's something that, if you're not really seeing it, because obviously I'm looking at it from a guy's perspective as to the whole dating market and what a mess that is. And it is just a mess. I mean, we've always had, since shaming got seen as a bad thing, by that I mean, whereas children born out of wedlock and stuff like that, obviously nowadays, 2021, it's normal. It's normal, and, there's the only ones that suffer the repercussions of that kind of a thing. And look, I'm not trying to say that, oh yeah, just because you're a single parent, you're a bad parent. I'm not saying that. I would argue that kids need both parents. They need a good male model, and they need a good female model. Now, this might trigger some people, and it's like, I don't care, right? I was brought up without a dad for the most part, all right? It was there on and off. And I know the path that I ended up going down. And if you really want to have a look into that sort of a thing, you can sit back and ask yourself as to why 80% of UK male inmates come from broken homes, single parent families. Because they didn't have a decent father role model in their home. And this is where we're at. But because if you say something like, oh yeah, you're just being sexist, it's like, no, I'm not being sexist, right? Now, I've turned out the opposite almost to my old man. There's so many things that we are absolutely streets apart on in how we see things, especially in how we see life. Because I was brought up in a total different scenario to what he was. Obviously, there's a generation difference and the collective mindset of that. Whilst growing up in the 80s and the 90s for me was a whole different thing for what growing up was like for him. And I don't know what his relationship was fully with his parents. He talks about it every now and then, but I'm not fully clued up on it. But yeah, the point is my argument has always been, it's like, look, I'm not trying to blame my parents for the way I've turned out, right? This is who and how I am. Right? Some people say I'm rude, some people say I'm abrasive. Personally, I think, no, I get to the point. If I've got something to say, I'll say it. And if it offends you, then let's talk about why it's offended you and figure out if it's me that's offended you, my viewpoint that's offended you, or whether it's you just being a little snowflake and you can't take a little bit of criticism, you know? Simple as that. But all of that is, I believe it is subjective. It's just an opinion. So like ourselves, everyone's got one. As to why our society has got the problem that it's got today. And whereas this whole equality thing isn't about equality between the genders or sexes, whatever you want to call it. It's like, everything's becoming so politically correct. It's like people are almost, scared to talk. I know I am to a degree. Even on the channel, I hear lots of other channels and they're literally like spelling words out so as to not say it so they don't get fucked over by the algorithm. It's sort of like, what is this hellhole that they're trying to create for us? Yeah, and this goes back to generations of previous. Now we've got the generation of the offended. And, everyone's going around getting offended by shit. The whole thing I was laughing about, oh yeah, you're rude. It's like, I'm not rude, I'm just telling you how it is. If you don't like it, do something about it, let's talk about it, or fuck off. Quite simple. But this is where we're at. Now don't get me wrong, I say that, I'm not that harsh. I will try and, help people in a way. What, by abusing them? Yeah, kind of. By taking the piss with banter. Alright, there's a difference between abuse and banter, right? I just want to point that one out. A lot of people would actually say, oh, well, you're narcissistic because you get to choose and, choose between what's abuse and what is banter. It's like, mate, you know when it's banter and you know when it's abuse. Alright? But, whatever. That's taking me, segued right off the topic I was talking about. I do apologise for that. See, this is why I stopped doing videos for a little bit. It's just sort of like, no, just keep on the topic, Mush, keep on it, But, yeah, it's kind of, in going back to that relationship that I was talking about, the sort of lesbian couple. I suppose in one aspect it was actually kind of a bit of a breath of fresh air, sort of like, so it's not just men then, women get this shit too. And then it started reminding me, it's like, well, yeah, I covered all of this. We know that some people on this planet are just downright wrong, and they don't care about other people. It's all self. That's what some people are like. And, whether you want to go as far as calling them narcissistic or they have a personality disorder or whatever, it's down to you. I mean, do your own investigations, check out the DSM, check out their patterns of behaviours, and make your own assumptions. People would say, well, that helps you categorise them and put them in a box. It's like, well, yeah, but it doesn't excuse them for their behaviour, and it doesn't excuse them for any abuse that they've subjected people that they've been involved with throughout their life. These people leave a trail of destruction behind them, and it's usually not only financial and in some form physical. Usually they leave a trail of destruction of other people that are mentally broken as a result of their own fuckery and bullshittery. So, here we are. So, yeah, I guess just a general chit-chat and all of this is what I wanted to do. So, here we are, under 20 minutes. So, if you've got any thoughts, comments, and opinions, feel free to jot them down as always. And till the next one, whatever that may be, stay cool, stay free. Peace out.